Oh man, what's going on, guys? So today when I got on the bike, the windshield was kind of loose. I just decided to take it off altogether. And so this is my first time riding without it, and let me tell you, the wind is way different. Like, it feels kind of good though. The bike, even though the windshield doesn't weigh anything, the bike kind of weighs, feels like it kind of weighs less when I'm turning and stuff. It's weird. So I hope there's not too much wind noise. Oh man, I feel like I gotta do a tuck like I'm on a sport bike with no windshield. So I'm trying to convince my friends to buy motorcycles, right? Because I'm kind of the first one of the group that actually pulled the trigger. I don't really know anybody else that rides, and I'm kind of having a hell of a time trying to find people that ride. So I wanted to talk about the costs of getting into motorcycling. And regardless of what you do, they're expensive. There's really no way around it. Because a lot of people only think of the cost of the bike. But that's nowhere near it. That's nowhere near all the costs that you're going to be spending. Before you buy the bike, you gotta buy gear. In my opinion, I'm just always gonna recommend get gear before you start riding, especially a helmet. Now you could find cheap gear. Like, yeah, you can get a helmet for $600-700 bucks. You can get a jacket for $400 or $500, boots for $300 or $400. Riding, you can go all out and spend thousands of dollars on riding gear. Or you can do it the way I did it, and kind of cheap out a little bit. Not recommended, but if it's what you gotta do, it's what you gotta do, you know? So I picked up this HJC helmet for about 120 bucks. And I looked up a lot of reviews on helmets. And even though this one's on the cheaper end, I still trust it to protect my head if I go down. It's DOT approved, good reviews. HJC has been making helmets forever, so they kind of know what they're doing. Now the jacket I'm wearing, I bought off Amazon for 70 bucks. I think it has CE level 2 armor, which is pretty decent. It's got some back protection. It's got some protection on my forearms. It's decently thick. It's got some mesh in it for kind of all 4 seasons. For my boots, I don't have specific riding boots. I kind of just wear Doc Martens. But I will be looking into getting some riding boots. For pants, I just wear jeans. Not the smartest, not recommended, but gotta save money, you know? As long as you got the helmet and jacket, I feel like, you know, you could at least start riding and then kind of work your way up in gear as you go along. So in total, I spent like maybe $200-300 for all of my gear. 20 bucks for the gloves also. Now, the motorcycles, you could find them pretty cheap off Facebook Marketplace. If you're buying your first motorcycle, I'm definitely not going to recommend going to the dealership and buying a new one. Because the chances are you're probably going to drop it a couple times. You might get rear-ended like I did on my second day of riding. You know, you're going to make mistakes as a new rider. I just wouldn't suggest buying a brand new motorcycle. You go on Facebook Marketplace, you can find a lot of good deals, especially around the end of summer, which is when I bought this. So I picked this thing up for $1,500. $200 for tags and title. And that was it, I was on my way. So you could really find some cheap bikes and gear. You don't really have to break the bank to start riding. Now, it takes a little bit of work, but you can still do it. So I mean, yeah. I picked up this 1986 Honda Magna for $1,500 off of Marketplace. And then, you know, I hear a lot of people so worried about insurance costs and whatever. But insurance for an 86 Honda Magna for the year, I think I pay like $200 a year. And that's more than liability. I mean, I forget what exactly the package was called. Like, let's say I get in a wreck, they're gonna pay for my medical bills. You know, they're gonna give me some money towards the bike. You know, so I get some extra stuff in there for $200 a year. I mean, insurance I really don't even notice it. Then you got maintenance. I really can't speak on maintenance too much because I just got the bike, so I really haven't had to do anything. Like, what really do you gotta do? You gotta take care of your chain, not that expensive. You gotta get new tires every couple thousand miles, okay. You gotta do some oil changes every once in a while, but it's really not that bad. So if you do it right, you know, you can really get into motorcycles for pretty cheap if you're not too picky. You know, I just got this thing to learn on. This is not my forever bike. That? I'm using my girlfriend on the back as a GPS right now because I don't know where the hell I'm going. This is a nice road though. Man, I love just riding back country roads on the motorcycle where there's no traffic. If you ask me, riding a motorcycle in traffic is kind of stressful. You're constantly worried about everything. If you do it the right way, you can get into motorcycling for a total gear, bike, insurance, tag and title included for a total of like maybe $3,000 or less. So I guess we're just going for a ride today because I have no idea where the fuck I'm going. And then if you're like me and you want to do some extra shit, you know, I bought a GoPro and a mic adapter and all that just to go so I can go motovlogging and stuff. I mean, if you think you're gonna get into motorcycles and save money, you're probably not. You know, you're always gonna want a new bike, you're always gonna want more gear. I mean, maybe if you completely get rid of your car, you could do it. But I really haven't tried that, and I don't know anybody who's tried that. Especially when you live up north, when you got some pretty harsh winters, it's gonna be pretty hard to do. And also, when you're buying a used motorcycle, you know, if you don't know anything about them, make sure you take somebody that knows something about motorcycles so that you're not buying, you know, a bucket of bolts that's gonna break down on you the second you buy it. Because then, yeah, that's gonna cost you a lot of money. You might as well have just bought a brand new one. So basically, I think if you're not completely dead broke, you could afford to get into motorcycling. I'm not rich by any means. Now, that's not to say that, like, if you have bills to pay, whatever, you know, focus on what you got to take care of first, because ultimately motorcycles are toys. You know, they're just hobbies. You know, you got to take care of your stuff first. But I just wanted to kind of get the point across that you don't have to spend $20,000 on a brand new Harley, $600 on a helmet, $400, $500 on a jacket, boots, pants, all that. You know, you can get into it for pretty cheap. Surprisingly cheap, actually. I feel like I want to learn how to wheelie on this heavy-ass thing. I've seen people wheelie on Harleys and shit. I know it's possible on this. So yeah, moral of the story is, if you want to get into motorcycling, you really don't need top-of-the-line gear. You don't need top-of-the-line gear. You don't need top-of-the-line bikes. You can get into it for pretty cheap if you're not picky, especially if you're just learning how to ride. I wouldn't even suggest getting the top-of-the-line stuff. And so I'm pretty sure this is going to be a short video. But I think that's about all I have for you guys on the cost of motorcycling. You know, you can make it as expensive as you want, but if you just put a little bit of work in, you know, you can get into motorcycling for less than $3 grand. And that's all I have for you guys, and I'll see you for the next one.